It's Lana. You are listening to Indie88. Last year, Myles Smith hit the ground running with the feel-good hit Stargazing, topping the charts around the world, soundtracking your videos, your wedding dances, even making Barack Obama's year-end playlist. And again, all within a year, opening up stadium tours, selling out his own international tour, which has brought him here today before 2 sold-out shows at History in Toronto. Myles Smith, welcome.
That was the best intro I've ever had. That's awesome. Hello.
Hello. It's so, thank you for taking the time.
Thank you.
Honestly, how has been your Canadian leg of the tour so far?
Been awesome. We've only done Vancouver so far.
Yeah.
But we've got Toronto coming up, and then we've got Montreal after. But honestly, we love being here.
Nice.
And I say that because it's one of the only places apart from sort of UK and European territories that sells out 6 months in advance, every single time. And the energy in the rooms is always amazing.
Awesome. If you think about not even 6 months ago, we're going to say about a year ago, you went from playing shows to 80 people, then, opening up stadium shows, you've got a sold out tour. That happened so fast. Do you remember that moment where you realized something's changing real quick here?
Yeah, I wish it was that magical, but genuinely, I've been writing and playing music since I was about 11 years old and playing shows since about 13. And so it feels relatively quick when you look at it through the lens of social media, but it's been 15 years of my life. And
Right.
So for me, I think, releasing sort of my first few singles and for them to really get traction online was a turning point for me, because before that it was just my mum and someone sinking a Guinness in a pub who were fans of my music, and so it's come a long way since then.
I wanted to talk about your acceptance speech at the Brits.
Oh, yeah.
That was really moving, and of course you give a nod to grassroots venues and of course music education. Would you go back and play those small pubs as a surprise?
Absolutely, yeah. Those are the places that made me the artist that I am, and I think it's so important for young artists coming through to be able to have the opportunity just to explore and experiment with their sound and their style and the tools that you need to have a career without sort of having all of this pressure on your back straight away. And I think a big reason why I've been able to sort of go from song to song to song and perform in these places, because I spent so many years playing to no one, and then no one was 10 people and then 100 people, and so you garner all of this experience before you're given the opportunity, and sometimes it feels like that gap's becoming ever increasing between being a bedroom musician and being an artist, or even being inspired to play an instrument and having access to an instrument. And I think those gaps could be tightened up.
100%. I also thought it was interesting because, again, especially during the pandemic, there was this TikTok kind of meteoric rise for some folks who had songs. But at the same time, I've interviewed some folks and they were like, I have to find a band. I have to learn how to play. I've never played live before in front of an audience. For you, with your show starting at 11 years old, when you looked at all the numbers coming in on TikTok or from streaming, it really resonated as well to those numbers coming in the rooms.
Yeah.
So what did you, when did you have that moment when the rooms were filling up and you kind of felt like that was when things were formed?
I think for me, I was super lucky. I put out my first tour when I had 2 songs out, which was insane, and people bought tickets on 2 songs, and even now I've been able to tour the world twice without an album, which is pretty crazy when you step back and look at it. And I think I've always wanted to gear myself up as a live touring artist, and for me, playing live is the bread and butter of music and the place where music really connects. And so the fact that what I've done online has been able to translate into people wanting to come and see it live is just such a blessing, but also such a privilege, and one that I don't take for granted.
Yeah. It's fantastic. Stargazing is a massive hit, of course. Now, I heard that you found inspiration. I've heard 2 stories. You can set the record straight. Was it a Malibu sunset, or was it eating tacos with friends?
Okay, so
where to begin?
Tacos with friends is truth. Malibu sunset is also truth. It's the chronology which is grey. So we wrote the song whilst eating nachos and having some Modelo's. I don't advocate for drinking, but a beer in the sunset is very nice. And we wrote the song fairly quickly in 15 minutes, and so we were stuck on the line, the actual word stargazing, for ages, because we had the melody, and then it was what rhymes with break it? It was like going over so many things. And Jesse, who's one of the co-writers on the song, was just like, what if we just say stargazing? And me and Pete looked at each other like, that's the best idea anyone's ever said. And then I was instantly sort of like, well, if I ever get asked in an interview, I can't say that. That's terrible. And so we looked out and it was sunset and there were stars over the Malibu sky. And I was like, that is my answer for every interview moving forward. But I couldn't keep it up for too long and I had to just tell the truth. So stargazing as a theme was an afterthought, but the song itself was always what it was meant to be. It's just stargazing. The most key word in the song was pure luck.
I don't know what it says about me. I think I've been inspired by tacos and beers with friends more than stars.
Yeah, honestly, it's the best place to find a song.
Now, you have 2 EPs out. Of course, you have this massive tour. You've been around the world. When it comes to releasing songs, does an album, like a proper debut album, does that matter to you as much as getting single songs out there or another maybe EP?
Absolutely. Like I've always wanted to be an album artist and I've always wanted to put together bodies of work. I think what I found in the past 18 months, and I've been on tour for the majority of the last 18 months, is that I'm still learning to find the time of how to dedicate like real committed time to forge in the music that I want to make and to put something cohesive together. And so when it comes to an album, it's a lot harder because I want to give it that due diligence and that thought and that care, especially my debut album, to sort of get it right. And so going through singles and EPs has been a way that I've been able to do bite-sized chunks of that. But I think, you know, with some off time coming off, like post-summer, like hopefully I could get into the nitty-gritty of creating an album. But I don't want to rush it just for the point of rushing it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm happy that you're going to take a little time off too. I mean, you get a little time in Toronto. Are you going to do a little collabing, or are you going to just chill out for a bit?
I'm chilling. We're here for a few days.
Yeah.
I've got some good food recommendations I'm going to go try out. If there's any more that you know, please let me know. But yeah, I'm going to chill. You know, it's been pretty hectic up until this point, going from the UK straight into the EU, straight over here. And so like it's probably our first time we've had 2 days off in about 3 months. So
that's a lot.
yeah.
How do you take care of your, like I know that there's a lot of the glitz and glamour and fun and streams and the big shows, but the flip side is like it's a hard gig.
Oh yeah, we are the furthest from glitz and glamour. Our crew is like 20 working class guys from the UK. Absolutely go mental about the fact that we are winging this world, and it's fun and it's great, but you know, we're all grounded, we're all humble, and we try to keep our camp that way, and you know, no one has an ego, and we always circle back to what's important in life, and that's the fact that we're all getting to live our dream every day. And you know, our duty is to put on the best show that we can every single night, and to bring people together. So you know, behind the scenes, it's just a lot of us like caring for each other and trying to make this very unnormal world that we live in normal, and we just do that by just keeping each other grounded and focusing on the fact that, you know, we've all dreamed to be here since we were like really young.
Now, as the tour goes on, and thank goodness you have a couple days off, but are you writing on the road? There's been like obviously some collabs that have been released, some cool stuff going on, but are you writing with other folks from at a distance, or?
I write a song a day every day. I try to, so I always have done and try just to keep creative, but I do the bulk of the writing when I'm off of tour, but it's a good way to always have ideas to visit when I'm off tour.
You write a song a day?
Yeah.
And how long have you been doing that?
A while. Yeah, a while. Ed does like 15, so it's nothing in comparison to the Ginger Prince, but I do try.
When you look back at your voice notes and your notes or whatnot, is there something that kind of pops up as being an inspiration that stands out?
You know what? My voice notes are a mess. I got like thousands, and I just will scroll when I'm like in my off periods. I just scroll and like stop on a random one and be like, okay, we'll work on that one today.
Little voice note roulette, just like
voice note roulette. Some are absolutely awful. Some are terrible. Some like I wake up like 3 a.m. and I'm like, what was I thinking? And some are really great.
Now, of course, with so many shows under your belt, what song has been the most joyous to perform?
I love obviously playing Stargazing. It's a great song to play live, but Nice to Meet You is also equally as fun, and you know, more people are becoming aware of it recently, which is really nice, and it feels like another tentpole moment in the set that people really come together and party. And I think every song in the set has a meaning and a purpose, and I try to like build my set to have a journey to it and to have a meaning rather than just playing songs at people. And so each song has its place there, and it makes it special to perform every one.
Well, we are so excited to see you this week. 2 sold-out
Awesome.
shows. And welcome back to Toronto, and we hope that we'll see you again. I mean, hopefully soon. I feel like your world tour is probably just going to keep on going and going.
100%. This is Toronto and Friends is what I'm going to call the next tour.
Oh, yes. Love it. Excellent. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.